Thank you, and welcome to everyone. We're pleased so many of you have joined us for today's webinar. My name is Sarah Drexler, and I will be moderating today's event. Before we get started, I want to let you know that we will be recording this webinar. We've left time for questions and answers at the end of the presentation. So please submit your questions throughout the presentation through the chat or question function on the right side of your screen. As COVID-19 began to dramatically affect life as we know it, Goodwin House at Home and Goodwin House's 2 life plan communities moved quickly to provide health and wellness resources for members and residents. In support of the stay-at-home proclamation issued by Governor Northam, we focused our efforts on webinars which can be viewed safely from home. Goodwin House, as an organization, understands and embraces the important part physical fitness plays in overall health, wellness, and in living a full life. Goodwin House was able to quickly pivot to today's reality by offering health classes through software like Zoom, as well as streaming through Facebook Live. This allowed our residents of our life plan communities to continue their regular workout routine safely in the comfort of their own home. Today, you'll hear from Goodwin House fitness managers Sherry Compton and Leslie LaPlace, who will be speaking on the importance of staying fit while remaining safe and healthy in your own home. They'll be focusing on 4 important components of fitness: balance, coordination, strength, and flexibility. They will explain how each play a part in maintaining your daily activities and helping to prevent falls. Participants in our webinar today will learn creative ways to incorporate these activities while staying safe at home. As another note, we will be sending out copies of this recording after the event along with the presentation. And please feel free to share one or both of these things with your family and friends. So it is now my great pleasure to introduce Sherry Compton. Sherry Compton is the fitness manager at Goodwin House Bailey's Crossroads. She has a Master's of Science degree from American University and is an ACE certified personal trainer. Sherry has worked in the health and fitness industry since 2000 and started specializing with older adults in 2005. Sherry loves to dance and trained as a dancer for several years. She's also a certified ballet bar instructor, aquatics instructor, and active aging movement coach. She enjoys the motivation and energy of teaching fitness and works to keep fitness fun and fresh for participants. Welcome, Sherry.
Thank you, Sarah, very much. So good afternoon, everyone. We are just excited that you have decided to join us for this webinar. And I always like to start out with the objectives of the presentation. So like Sarah said, we will be talking about 4 really important components of fitness. Now, these are not the only components of fitness, but we found over the years through our personal experience and through all the research that's been done that these 4 components really play an important part of keeping older adults safe and healthy and in their homes. So strength, coordination, flexibility, and balance. I will be talking about strength and coordination, and my colleague will be talking about flexibility and balance. And then I will also be going over some benefits of physical activity because I think it's important to know why we do the things that we do. And at the end, Leslie, my colleague, is going to bring it all together and give you some application and things that you can take away from this presentation. Next slide, please. So why exercise? This is what this slide is all about. Sometimes when we need a motivation to maybe get up on those days where we're not really feeling like it, I always like to go back to the why. And this slide is all about that. So as you can see here, there are several different things that comes out of being a physically active person, from helping you manage chronic disease if you already have it, like hypertension or type 2 diabetes, even some cancers. It's amazing for helping you with your mood. The exercise and physical activity has been found to be a better determinant of decreasing depression than even medication. And believe it or not, it can actually help you recover from long-term hospital staying and bed rest. We found a research study that talked about how if you go into the hospital and you go into ICU or you're there for a while, your body loses 3 to 11% of its muscle mass during that time per day. And so we were thinking that it would be really important for us to maintain our fitness level before going into those types of situations so that we can recover better afterwards. You can definitely read through many of these on your own, but there are just so many whys of why we should continue being physically active. Yes, next slide. Oh, ride train. So now specifically when we talk about strength, I have to say as a trainer, I am always encouraging my residents and my participants to lift more weights. And I get a lot of pushback, but now I actually have a study that shows exactly why being strong is so important. Researchers in 2004, they studied the National Health and Nutrition Examination Surveys called the NHANES, and they, after controlling for several variables and factors, they had a study panel of 3,600 older adults, and older adults was described as 55 and older for men and 65 and older for women. And what they found is that being strong, having muscle mass, was a better determinant of longevity than even BMI. And BMI is your body mass index. It's what a lot of clinicians and a lot of people use to determine health. But what they found in this research study that even muscle mass is even a better determinant of longevity than BMI. And it's also, they found that over the 10 to 16 year period that those people who had the most muscle mass in the study, those older adults who had the most muscle mass, were less likely to die from anything. So that is a really encouraging factor to continue or begin strength training. And I can't wait to tell all of my residents this in the classes so that when I say go up and weight, they won't argue with me. Next slide, please. Next slide. Oh, there we go. Strength. So there are two major areas in the strength. When you are training, you want to make sure that you're working both muscular strength and muscular endurance. Muscular strength is your power and how much force you can use to exert to either lift something or pull something. This is going to be your strength. And it's basically your power. You know, how much power can you exert on a short-term type of moment? And exercises that can help you develop your power are things like resistance training, using weights, dumbbells, resistance bands, body weight. These are all things that cause your muscles to have to really use force and power in order to complete the task. And then muscular endurance is the ability to keep moving in a repetitive action for over a longer term, so over 30 minutes or over 60 minutes. So exercises that can help build muscular endurance are things like power walking, running, hiking, climbing hills. These are all weight-bearing activities that are going to cause your muscles to have to work at a certain pace over a longer period of time. An example of everyday living would be if you went to the grocery store and you had a whole bunch of groceries and the young man helped you load them into your car, but when you get home, you're the one who has to lift those grocery bags. So you're the one who has to put that force and that power into those grocery bags. And you're the one who has to make several trips back and forth to the house to carry those groceries into the house. That lift and being able to lift it up, that's your power, that's your muscular strength. being able to go back and forth several trips over a 10 or 15-minute period, carrying and lifting, that's your muscular endurance. When strength training, it's important to do both. Next, please. So, okay, Sherry, strength training, where should I start? It's recommended, by the physical activity guidelines for Americans that older adults weight train all of their major muscle groups at least twice a week. So here I have a kind of a very layman's term of what are the major muscle groups. So this is going to be your chest, your back, your arms, your shoulders, your core. This is your upper body, major muscle group areas. And then your lower body, this is going to be your legs, so the front and back of the thighs, your glutes, and then also your lower leg, which is your calves, and your tibialis anterior, or the front of the leg. Next slide. So we're going to go over a few different types of exercises that can increase your strength. So this is bent over rows, and Leslie's going to demonstrate this in such a really great way. You see that her back is nice and flat, her arms are close to the body, she has a soft knee, head and neck is in alignment, and this is strengthening your core and your upper back, as well as shoulders. Next video, please. Chair plank. So the chair plank is going to be a great exercise for your upper body and your core. So you see Leslie is demonstrating with a chair. She's holding both of her arms nice and straight. Her body is in a plank position, abs are pulled in. She's also going to show you in a lower position, which is a little bit more difficult, but gives you that same type of muscular strength training for the core and upper body, arms, shoulders, abdominals are all being trained with the chair plank. Great. Sit to stand. This is going to be a, can we go back to the, yeah, this is going to be a lower body strengthening exercise. Leslie here is going to demonstrate the sit to stand. Now the preference would be to do this exercise without using your hands or your arms. You can see that she has her arms crossed. She's pushing through the feet and up through the glutes. Hips are coming forward. Head and neck are staying upright. We do not bend forward when doing this exercise. Now, if you can't use do it without your hands, then you use your hands, but use them briefly as a little force of power to get you up out of that chair and back down. This is a great exercise for balance and for strength. Okay, heel and toe raises. Again, this is going to train the lower part of the legs, front and back. Heel raises. You see here, Leslie is holding on lightly to the chair. It's not really, being used as a crutch or anything. And her heels, she's raising her heels as high as she can, and very great posture. You want to stand nice and straight when you're doing this. When you switch to the toe raises, you're strengthening the front part of the legs. You can see here that Leslie is again holding on lightly, but she has a little bit of a hip flex going back. So her hips are just flexing just slightly in the exercise. Very good. So those are our strength exercises, and we encourage you to do as many of them as you can. My next topic will be body coordination. And for this particular webinar, we're defining body coordination as the ability to move multiple body parts smoothly and efficiently together to complete your daily tasks. So that could be cooking, cleaning, driving, as well as in your leisure events, which would be things like exercising, bowling, golfing, gardening, dancing. These are all things that you need body coordination for. And no matter what level of mobility you have, it's important to have good body coordination. Even if you are using a rollator, if your head and arms and legs don't work together to push that rollator down the road, you're not going to be at your best self. So we're just saying, no matter what your mobility level, if you have a cane, a rollator, if you're in a wheelchair, you can still train and improve body coordination with some of the exercises we're going to give you. Next, please. So when you train body coordination, I wanted to give you kind of a general application of what types of exercises, what those exercises should have you be doing. And so when you are training coordination, some of the things that the exercises that you choose should have you do is use multiple planes of movement. So when we talk about planes in fitness, movement planes, we're talking about the forward and the backwards movement. So this is going to be bending forward, and if your arms go behind you, this is going to be your sagittal plane, which is front to back. Frontal movement, believe it or not, is actually side to side. So you can just picture yourself being in a door frame, and you don't want to move outside of that door frame to the front or to the back. You want to stay right in that frame, and you move side to side. So that's going to be your frontal plane of movement. And then, of course, there's transverse, which is going to be your rotation of trunk at the top and hips at the bottom. So when you are training coordination, you want to choose exercises that have you move in more than one plane of movement, as well as exercises that have you do cross-lateral body movement. So that's going to be your opposite arm and hand moving together. So if your right hand is out, your left foot is out. And this is really demonstrated in walking. If you can kind of check yourself to see if when you walk, just kind of your natural gait, and do I have a cross-lateral movement pattern? If you don't, that's something that you want to work on, because that's going to help build your hand-eye coordination and mind and body coordination. And also, you should have exercises that help you practice same side movement. So moving the left arm with the left leg and those types of things. So you want those types of exercises that are going to help you do both. Also, you want exercises that are going to challenge your range of motion. So we tend, as we get older, not to want to move as big as we used to. We want to take smaller steps. We want to reach less. And that's actually not good for body coordination. What you want to do is you want to do exercises that are going to cause you to challenge your range of motion. I'm going to reach for that, and I'm going to reach even a little bit further to see if I can get to where I want to go. And you want to do those exercises forward and backwards, and the frontal plane, as well as in the transverse plane. Those exercises that challenge your range of motion. And then exercises that test your reaction time. So again, this is going to be one of those things where you are immediately just kind of like, I'm going to go right, and now I'm going to switch left. And you want to do exercises that cause you to have to do that. It's on a regular basis, 2 to 3 times a week. You want to be taking up a little bit of practice on your body coordination. Some of the exercises that I would recommend for this would be things like ball toss, stepping from side to side while you're holding a ball and just tossing it up and down in front of you, but you're moving your feet at the same time as you toss the ball. Walking straight ahead while you're turning your head to the left and to the right. That's a wonderful way to begin to train cross-lateral movement and same side movement. Quickly shifting your weight in different directions. So I talked a little bit about this. That would be like stepping forward and quickly stepping back. I teach a line dance class. We are constantly shuffling forward and shuffling back. You need those types of movements in order to complete your daily task. And then also marching in place while you're simultaneously moving your arms in different directions. This is great for hand-eye coordination and beginning to build up and practice coordinating and body coordination. And any type of dancing, Zumba, aerobics, golfing, bowling, all of these types of sports do help you build and work body coordination. So we have a couple exercises on video. You can go to the first video. Okay, so Leslie is going to demonstrate walking while turning your head to the left and to the right. You want to, as you're walking, you want to just make sure that you got nice cross-lateral arm and leg movement. You'll see that her head turns to the right, and then to the, she rebalances when she looks forward and back. Very good. So that's walking while turning your head to the left and to the right. So let's show the next one. So in this video, Leslie's going to be demonstrating marching while moving your arms in different directions. Again, you want a nice cross-lateral movement with the legs, and you see her nice and straight posture. She's looking straight ahead. She's trying not to look down at her feet. You don't want to look at your feet, even though you feel like it. You shouldn't. And that's a great way to practice. You can also do this in a chair. You want to sit on the edge of the chair and you would march and move your arms in different directions. Very great way to practice, even if you can't stand while doing it.
Thank you so much, Sherry, for the information you shared. It was really interesting. It is now my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Leslie LaPlace. Leslie is the fitness manager at Goodwin House Alexandria. She is a NASM certified personal trainer, corrective exercise specialist, and water art certified aquatic instructor. A recovering software development project manager, she parlayed a belief into how staying active can help reduce aches and pains into her career with working with people of all ages, but primarily focusing on older adults. Leslie has experience with both land and water classes, as well as personal training. Welcome, Leslie.
Great, thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Sherry, for all that information to start with. So you're going to see that the next two subjects, flexibility and balance, are going to kind of build on what Sherry was just talking about. So flexibility, why is this important as well? So for one, it's going to improve our range of motion. Your muscles are tight, they do not allow the joints to reach the full extent of their range of motion, which can lead to pain and injury. Think of putting on a shirt, either one that buttons or one that goes overhead. Your arms and shoulders need to be able to move that get that shirt on and off with limited discomfort. It can help improve your posture. This will help loosen ligaments, tight ligaments, and tendons and muscles. Along with strength training, a stretching routine will help balance out weaker muscles, which can help correct poor posture with the benefits of flexibility. For example, posture that is hunched forward often has a tight chest and shoulder muscles, as well as weaker back muscles. Stretching the front of the body, along with doing some strength training like the rows that we demonstrated, can help balance out the body, allowing a more upright posture. It can help, flexibility can help manage low back pain and arthritis. So supple, well-stretched muscles are less prone to injury, while less flexible muscles and connective tissue restrict the joint mobility, which increases the likelihood of sprains and strains. Tight muscles can also pull on other areas of the body, pulling them out of alignment, which can cause pain. So think of tight hamstrings. That could be something that also can cause that low back pain as well, because that's pulling, those muscles are connected to the glutes, connected to the back, so that could be pulling your back out of whack as well. It's critical to balance and stability, in particular, flexibility of the muscles on the top and the back of the legs, like your quadriceps and hamstrings, as well as mobility of the hip joints, ability to balance when you're standing still, which is your static balance, and strength in your spine, in the lumbar spine particularly, all contribute to balancing when you move, which is called dynamic balance. It can also increase your energy level. Stretches will also increase the circulation and blood flow throughout the body, thus increasing the body's energy levels. In addition to helping to keep you flexible and fit, stretching boosts circulation, needed for being aware and alert, that can also help prevent falls. So you want to stretch regularly but gently, without bouncing. So I know sometimes I see people who stretch a lot, going forward and back, and we don't want to do that because that can cause tissue injury. You want to stretch till you want to reach till you're feeling that stretch, and then you want to hold it. If you're not used to stretching, you can start by holding a stretch for a short time, and gradually you want to build up to roughly 30-second stretches over time. Next slide. Thank you. All right, so here's a video, and this one is a stretch for the front of the hips. And you can do this standing next to a chair or a counter, and you're going to step back with the opposite leg. So you can see I'm holding on one side, the opposite leg is back, and I'm pushing that back hip forward. You can also raise that arm on the same side, reaching for the ceiling while you're pushing forward, and then you can lean to the side. That's going to get you a stretch in the front of those hips. You may even find it down the side, down the front of your thighs and your quadriceps. Here's another view from the side so you can see what I'm doing. My forward leg, I have the knee bent and over the ankle, and my weight in my forward foot is towards the heel, and I'm pushing that back hip forward. You can also do it seated, so you would turn sideways in a chair. So again, I'm stretching that same leg, sitting up nice and straight. You can use the armrest for balance, and you drop the knee to the floor, slide that leg back wherever you can, and still you can reach for the ceiling and then bend to the side. That's going to get you a nice stretch in the front. Next slide. Okay, good. So this is going to be a torso stretch for the back. You're going to sit up nice and straight, take one arm across the body, reaching for the outside of the thigh, and staying nice and straight. Keep the shoulders up and down. You can use the side of a chair for extra to help you pull you around. So you're going to turn to the side, and just again, you're going to hold that stretch. Good. All right. Balance. I know that's important and on a lot of people's minds. So balance plays a very important role in your everyday activities, such as just standing, walking, gardening, lifting, putting things away. So these activities of daily living that allow you to function independently. As discussed in flexibility, muscles that are tight will inhibit your movements, which often cause us to change how we move or stand, leading to changes in our balance. Some strength is also important for balance. Strong hips, knees, and ankle muscles are going to give you a solid foundation and help you stay upright. So think about, like Sherry said, if you go into the hospital and you're in for any amount of time, you come out, you feel weak, your balance might be off. Your muscles aren't as strong. It's harder to hold them up, to hold, to give your body the support it needs. Also, the fear of falling, with or without an actual previous fall, can lead to physical inactivity accompanied by further physical decline and impaired balance, and then as well as to an increased risk of many lifestyle-related diseases. The fear of falling may even increase the risk of a future fall. And as we age, the body's systems that promote balance and stability become less effective. Reduced vision and reaction time, as well as inner ear dysfunction, which can throw you off balance, increases with age. On their own, these declines increase your risk of falling, but they often occur alongside losses in muscle strength and mobility. Strong hips, ankles, and gluteal muscles are also critical to good balance. People with weak core muscles are also more prone to falls, decreased mobility in the spine, slower reflexes, and lower back injuries. Next slide. Okay, so this first one is a weight shift. So you're going to, with a knee lift, and you're going to step side to side, taking really big steps. I'm in front of a chair, but I recommend doing this behind a chair or next to a counter. You take a big step to the side, creating momentum, and then lift the knee, raising the arms if you can, and you have to hold. So sometimes in class, as you see on the last one, I lost my balance. So when I do this with my classes, what I do often, and you could do this at home, is when I step to the side, lift the knee, I do it, we have to hold for 2 claps. So you can clap 2 times. If you want, you can try holding it longer, do 3 claps, but that gives you timing for how long you need to hold it. Again, please be safe and do this in back of a chair or near a counter or someplace stable. The next one is a grounded rocking horse. So if anybody's ever taken any pool classes, you've probably done a rocking horse move. One foot's in front of the other, and I'm just rocking forward and backward. I'm shifting my weight onto the forward foot and onto the back. And this actually simulates your walking, your gait. So think about when you're walking, you push off with that back foot, your heel comes up, you push off with the toes. And when you are walking, when you put your forward leg down, your heel comes down first, and then the toes come down. So it's a great way to just get that, to practice that walking gait. The other thing is make sure you do both legs. Same thing with the stretches. You want to make sure that you stretch both sides. All right. So we've discussed the 4 components of fitness that, while important on their own merits, they work synergistically to help prevent falls. A new study concludes that exercise can reduce not only the odds of falling, but the odds of experiencing a fall-related injury. French researchers analyzed the results of 17 trials that tested the effect of fall prevention exercises on seniors' risk of falls and fall-related injuries. Overall, exercise programs reduced falls that caused injuries by 37%, falls leading to serious injuries by 43%, and broken bones by 61%. And this report was published online in the British Medical Journal. And as mentioned before, I mentioned this a couple slides ago, this just kind of gives you a visual of that vicious cycle, starting with the fear of falling, even with or without a previous fall, which can lead one to restrict their activity or even change how they move, which in turn leads to a decrease in muscle strength and balance, which in turn increases the risk of falling. And it just continues. So, other than fall prevention and balance, how else can a well-rounded exercise program benefit you? As Sherry mentioned, you have faster reaction time. This can help you keep yourself upright if you start to fall by putting out an arm quickly to grab something stable. Improving your coordination, which can directly help prevent falls, but can also help you roll rather than crash as you go down. Building muscle. Stronger and larger muscles can buffer the impact of a fall, providing some protection to bones and joints. Stronger bones, resistance exercises, or the strength exercises that Sherry talked about, helps to strengthen the bones, and stronger bones are more resistant to fractures. Better brain function. Regular exercise helps maintain brain function with age. It increases the heart rate, which pumps more oxygen to the brain. It aids the release of hormones, which provide an excellent environment for the growth of brain cells. And exercise also promotes brain plasticity by stimulating growth of new connections between cells. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much, Sherry, for the information that you've shared. It was really interesting. At this time, we are now going to turn to the Q&A from the audience. Again, you can submit your questions using the chat or question function on the right-hand side of the screen. Any questions that we are not able to answer or that will be discussed on the webinar, we will be putting together a written Q&A that will be next week. So as a reminder, please indicate the panelists you would like to answer the question, or if you'd like both of them to answer as well. So we do have a couple of questions that have come in. The first one is for both of you, and it is from Janet. And what Janet, her question is, what can I do to establish and maintain a good exercise routine? She also adds that her problem is long-term motivation, and when she was younger and still working, she felt it very easy to exercise first thing in the morning once she was up, but now she finds herself, now that she's retired, she finds herself getting out of bed and going for the cup of coffee to wake up first. So she's wondering, any suggestions you may have about motivation would be great.
I'll just put out one thing initially, and I'll let is find a buddy. If you can find somebody who is also looking to get moving more often, and that person's going to hold you accountable, which is huge.
That's a great
If you know somebody's waiting for you, it's harder to back out of it.
Yes, I agree with that suggestion. I'm going to go back to that, one of the slides I talked about, finding your why. I think it's really important to know why you want to exercise and what benefit it's going to give you. So if that's going to be strengthening your body so that you don't fall, or if that's going to be going for a walk so that you have muscular endurance and you're getting fresh air, you're controlling type 2 diabetes. You want to find your why and really know the reason behind your exercising, and then always make it manageable. I always tell people, don't try to do something that's not you. You know, if getting up, going for a jog is not you, then don't do that. But maybe at the end of the day, going for an after dinner walk is you. So you want to find that thing that actually fits your personality, but is physically active, you know, being physically active. We all have things that we like to do that get us moving, and you just need to pinpoint it and recognize that as exercise versus only thinking of exercise as being in a gym or lifting weights or something like that. You can do sit to stands while watching your favorite show, and during the commercials, just do sit to stands. You know, there's ways to kind of fit it into your day, and it doesn't have to feel like this, you know, big planned event that you have to go to.
Thank you, that's great. Our next question is from Carol, and I'm going to direct this to Sherry. And this is Carol's words. Some of us oldies need chair yoga. Could you recommend chair yoga videos or balance exercises to do at home?
Yeah, so the internet has a plethora of fitness experts out there who have freely given their expertise. I personally like the Silver Sneakers because they've been doing this for a long time and working with older adults for a long time. They're an evidence-based program, and they have a Facebook page, and currently they're doing quite a few at-home live workouts each week for older adults. If you just go to their Facebook page, Silver Sneakers, facebook.com Silver Sneakers. I also would recommend that if you have an Amazon Prime account, if you go on there and you put in chair yoga, there's a lot of free videos that come right up. And I'm sure if you have like Netflix or something else, some other type of streaming, Hulu, type of streaming app on your either your computer or your phone, you will be able to find chair yoga through any of those different venues.
Thank you very much. This next question, Leslie, I'll direct towards you. It's from Jeff, and he's asking, to gain muscle mass and strength, is it better to do more reps at the same weight or to add more weight and do less reps?
And the question one more time, is it better?
He's just wondering, his question is, when you're trying to gain muscle mass, is it better to add more weight when you're doing your reps or do more reps keeping the same weight?
Okay, so if he's trying to put on muscle, well, first of all, I'm going to assume by the question that he may be already in a program. So I'm going to start from that assumption that he's already working out. First of all, it's important to know that if you've been doing something for a very long time, I know a lot of people come into the communities saying, oh, I've been doing this exercise program for like 2 years, and this is what I like to do. So our body is very adaptable to what we're doing. And after 8 to 12 weeks, it needs to be changed up, because after that point, you're not really getting the benefits or seeing the gains anymore. So you have to constantly challenge and change up what you're doing. It doesn't mean that you have to, if you like working your biceps, but it doesn't necessarily mean you can't not work them anymore. We just have to find a different way to challenge them. So if somebody's looking to put on more muscle, I would encourage them to try more weight, gradually increasing the weight, dropping back how much they do until they're, and if they find that they're then able to build back up, that's also another telling sign that it may be time to increase the weight. That if you're doing, I'll say 2 sets of 15 and you feel like, I could do 25 of each, it's time to increase the weights because your body has adapted to that weight and you're not going to get the benefits. There's not going to be as much, I'm not going to say nothing, but you're not going to have as much of a benefit at that point until you keep challenging yourself. And that's how you get stronger. That's how you continue to get stronger, is that you have to keep challenging your body in different ways.
That's great, thank you. The next question is, I'll give this to Sherry. It's from Tony, and she actually has 2 questions. The first one is, how do I increase strength and endurance following a sickness for an extended period of time? If she was ill for an extended period of time, how do you get back get your strength, improve your strength and endurance after that type of episode?
So of course you want to start with physician clearance and get that permission from your primary care doctor that you are free to begin a physical activity program. And then once they've given you kind of the go ahead to begin a program, you would start very, I would think you would want to start very small at first. And if you're a person who can stand and move, then I would take, several of the exercises that we talked about today and practice those at home and begin that way. But if you are a person who might be regulated to a chair or not able to fully get the range of motion of your body, then I would say do those things that you can. If you can't stand, then you can do, I always tell the people, this is being recorded, but I always tell the people to squeeze their glutes and their thighs and their knees together like they have to go to the bathroom, but they can't. That's going to work those same muscle groups that doing a standing squat would do. So there are definitely different ways that you can begin that. Like I said, those videos from Silver Sneakers, if you're at home, they have short-term videos. They have videos that are 5 minutes all the way up to 30 minutes. And you would just want to start small and begin to slowly work your way up as you feel and see the increase in strength.
Thank you. And her second question is, and I'll give this to Leslie, how do I find exercises to choose to help with each area? I guess specifically, I'm guessing she means her whole body.
Yeah, the major muscle groups, that we talked about.
Well, again, I mean, I could, we refer them, they can go to the Silver Sneakers and they're looking for a total body exercise program, something overall.
That's what I'm guessing from what her question was.
Okay.
Move into Goodwin House.
That's right.
We'll work you out.
Once you're allowed, yeah, come on over. Yeah, the Silver Sneakers website, there is so much information out there, and I know there's a lot of information that's not necessarily good or not good for you. So there isn't one place that there isn't a website that I go to necessarily that's like a Silver Sneakers. So, but there are, I know that there's, if somebody is looking for something very specific, I can get that. I don't have it off the top of my head, but I'm happy to give them. There's videos. There may even be streaming. I think her name is Ann Burrell. She does a lot of senior focused or older adult focused classes, standing and seated, and they're usually total body. So, I mean, I'm not just saying that that's the only thing, but that's one, but off the top of my head, but I could get that information too. That person, if you're interested.
And maybe that's something we could add to the Q&A, written Q&A that we send out after this event.
Yep.
All right, thank you. So I
And
have
the
another.
library, I just want to add, I'm sorry, and I don't remember, Sherry, if you mentioned this, but I know that your public library has, they usually have a bunch of videos or DVDs available in the exercise and fitness area. So
That's
that
a great suggestion.
That would be one place to go check out for videos with, you know, no cost involved, just to check them out. And you could then try out different ones and see which ones you like.
Mm-hmm.
So it's another option.
So I have another question, and this is from Pat, and I will give this to Sherry. And the question is, if you're exercising in your apartment, is it okay, should you wear shoes, or can you exercise barefoot?
Wear shoes.
Wear shoes.
Yes, number one is going to help prevent a fall. Number two, you need the stability and support in the ankle and in the arch, you know, because you're doing something physical. So you want to make sure that your body's protected. Now, if you're doing something more meditative like yoga or Pilates, that's a different form of exercise, and they tend to be barefoot. But if you're doing either cardiovascular, aerobics, strength training, things like, you know, sit to stands, balance exercises, I would wear gym shoes.
Okay, thank you. So this one will be for both of you, because I know there's different things happen at each community. So can Priority Club members, this is from Daniela, and she's wondering if Priority Club members can participate in these exercises. Can they go to, I guess, Goodwin House Alexandria, Goodwin House Bailey's Crossroads, and participate in the exercise classes?
Well, right now, well, hopefully some point in the future, they can come back in.
Right, not now.
Right. Here at Alexandria, I'm at Goodwin House Alexandria. We do have a number of Priority Club and Goodwin House at Home people who do come in and participate in classes and use the fitness center.
Okay.
Yeah, at Goodwin House Bailey's Crossroads, we have a really, really active aging group here, and our classes, fortunately, are very, very popular. So we actually don't have the room in our spaces that are available for us to do fitness, to invite our outside community members in, Goodwin House at Home and Priority Club members. But you know, one day we might have to build a whole new facility for it. But right now, we're close to that because we just have so much active participation from our residents.
Okay, thank you. This is from Denny, and the question, or she has a comment and a question. For Leslie and Sherry, both of you, thank you for all the useful information. Looks like there are many activities to try. I wonder if you also have yoga or Tai Chi classes, and if there are walking paths on the grounds, or if there is walking in the residential neighborhoods around the communities.
So regularly, when we're not in pandemic mode, we do offer a variety of classes through experts in those fields like Tai Chi and yoga and chair yoga, Pilates. Right now, our schedule is a little bit more limited. We're not really offering those. And I'm, you know, looking for a fitness specialist. We do have guided walks around our community, which are really nice. And as far as local, you know, parks, there's definitely parks that are available. One of the favorites of the residents here is Green Springs Gardens, which is just down the road from Bailey's Crossroads. And there's another nature center. I can't think of the name of it right now, just around the corner. I used to do, before we were closed, I used to do a lot of a monthly walking trip where we would go to all different places and parks. So there's definitely places in the Cross Church and Alexandria area to be walking.
And here at Alexandria, our early morning yoga class has been Zooming with the instructor. So they have been continuing the yoga. We share the same instructor of the Tai Chi instructor with Bailey. So all our Tai Chi has been resident led. We have a very dedicated bunch of Tai Chiers here. And in fact, they added on some extra days. So I think they do it now like 4 or 5 days a week. They do Tai Chi, but it's all resident led. We added, and we did add on, but now we're kind of, because we're loosening the restrictions, we did have, for about a month, we had some neighborhood walking, a neighborhood walking group to go through different neighborhoods around our community that I was leading. But next week, we're going back to our regular Trailblazers on Monday, where we'll, but again, it's going to be limited to like 3 parks that are close by. So, yeah.
Okay. Denny also has another question, and she's wondering that if after we get through the COVID, the current situation, if you will both still be offering online fitness classes. Will you continue doing online programming in addition to your in-person classes?
So we weren't necessarily going out to the community. We have an in-house channel here that we were able to stream to. So there were 3 options for people to come and do exercise. The cameras for streaming are in the auditorium, so some residents can come into the auditorium with me. It's a big enough space and they can be far enough away from me. The studio, I can have up to 10 people there. And then there are some people who are still doing it in their apartments. In fact, there's people who didn't exercise before who love doing it in their apartments. So I'm going to be looking to try to see if I can have streaming from the studio for the future. So just to kind of keep those people engaged. But so it was never going out to the community, but it was streaming in-house, in an in-house. So but we're looking.
We haven't been, oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, but we're looking to try to get some videos done to then pass on to marketing to post on the blog, which would then be available to anybody.
Okay.
And we haven't been doing any online streaming here at Bailey's Crossroads. Everything has been, our fitness program has continued throughout the pandemic, and we have been following all the social guidelines for distancing and mask wearing and things of that nature, and group size.
Okay. All right. Well, we have time for one more question, and this is from Jeff. And it is, could you comment on the importance of proper hydration when you are working out? So I throw that to both of you.
Okay. So kind of rule of thumb is that you want to drink water before, during, and after exercise. I always emphasize it in my classes to make sure that the residents drink water before and during the classes and afterwards, because dehydration doesn't always show up in forms of feeling thirsty. It can show up in forms of feeling dizzy. It can show up in forms of not quite feeling yourself. So it can show up in forms of feeling nauseated. So you want to make sure that you are drinking at least a cup of water before and after, during and after you exercise. You want to replenish your water. You always want to make sure you're hydrating on a regular basis, especially now that we are coming into the summer months and we are sweating. Our body is constantly cooling us off, even though we don't know it. So we are perspiring, even though it doesn't show up as a bead on your skin. And so you want to make sure that you're replenishing that water back into your body.
And particularly now that the fact that they have, they're having to wear masks while they're exercising as well. So it's really important. It's really important to stay hydrated.
Yes, thank you so much. Well, thank you, Sherry and Leslie, for sharing your time and expertise. It was really interesting. I do want to mention we did have some other questions that we were not able to answer, but we will be including those in the written question and answer that we'll be sending out next week. So Goodwin House at Home and the Life Plan communities will continue to offer educational webinars, so please stay tuned for future dates. To our listening and viewing audience, thank you for joining us today and submitting your questions. I hope you enjoyed the program. And as we noted previously, we will send a recording of today's webinar. Thanks again for joining us. Enjoy your day.